A view from the Hope Flowers School. Hussein Issa, a Palestinian refugee, was not embittered by the hardships he'd faced while growing up. He dreamed of peace, of freedom, of educating his fellow Palestinians. Hussein believed that education is a most important tool for empowering Palestinian children to rise to his vision of building a new Palestine for tomorrow. Hussein decided to establish a school to educate disadvantaged children, to help them move beyond fear and the stereotyping of other people as enemies, and to be responsible world citizens. Hussein called the school he founded Hope Flowers School, because his dream indeed was one of hope. It started in 1984 in the historic town of Beit Jala, part of Greater Bethlehem. The school provided preschool education for children of 4 to 5 years of age, and a basic education for children 6 to 13 years old. The majority of children at Hope Flowers came from refugee camps and underprivileged communities in that area. In 1990 there was a major need to expand the school. With generous support from its friends around the world who come from a variety of faith backgrounds, Hope Flowers managed to buy a piece of ground of 9,000 square meters in the village of Al-Khadr to the west of Bethlehem, and we started building a modern school building there. The new property was located near an ancient park called Solomon's Pools, which date back to 1547 when the Ottoman ruler Suleiman the Magnificent decided to build 3 big reservoir pools to irrigate vegetable farms around Jerusalem and to supply Jerusalem with water during the summer. The building of the new school started early in the time of the peace process of the 1990s. At the same time, the Israelis started to expand the settlements of Gush Etzion on the southern and western side of Hope Flowers. Gush Etzion is a cluster of Jewish West Bank settlements south of Jerusalem and near Bethlehem. 80% of the total area of Al-Khadr was confiscated for these Israeli settlements. Settlement expansion around Hope Flowers has a huge impact on Palestinians, not only politically but also economically and socially. As Hope Flowers School was educating children in peace and human rights, preparing its students to live free of conflict, the Israeli settlement building program expanded, confiscating more land and property around the school. It looked like a race between peace and the occupation. As of 2011, Gush Etzion consisted of 22 settlements with a total population of 70,000 colonists. The international community considers Israeli settlements in the West Bank to be illegal under international law and the Geneva Conventions, but the Israeli government disregards this. The homes of the Palestinian citizens in this area are very close to the Israeli settlement and the Israeli separation wall. Hope Flowers School has received a demolition order from the Israeli army, together with 50 other homes in this neighborhood. The Israelis justify these demolition orders by saying that these homes are all located in Area C, the Israeli-controlled area of the West Bank. My brothers and I have received 14 demolition orders from the Israelis, but we have no other place to go. Settlement expansion near Hope Flowers continues today. This expansion is accompanied by great fear and uncertainty amongst Palestinians, not only amongst students in Hope Flowers, but by their families and the whole community. Meanwhile, the Israelis prevent Palestinians from building homes of their own in the neighborhood. All this area is under direct threat of Israeli settlement. We're concerned about the danger to our children. Israeli colonists are attacking us at day and by night. They want us to leave this area. I have constant concern that the Israeli army will demolish my home. I have no other place to go, neither do I have other property where I can build another home. Palestinians have owned this ground for hundreds of years. In many cases, Palestinians rebuild or expand their homes without obtaining building permits from the Israelis because of the expense, and also because they have lived there for so long that they have no modern ownership papers. but the Israelis conduct demolitions in Palestinian neighborhoods, saying that these homes have been built illegally. Students at Hope Flowers have to cross Israeli checkpoints and points of contact with Israeli colonists on a daily basis. In many cases, students at Hope Flowers and other Palestinian schools become victims of attacks by settlers and the Israeli army. This causes psychological trauma for many children, for their parents, and even for our teachers. We have recognized many children suffering from learning disabilities as a consequence of the economic and political situation these children live in. This situation affects many families and children. This situation is causing psychological trauma for the children, and learning disabilities are just one of the consequences. UNCTAD, the United Nations Committee for Trade and Development, stated in a 2016 report that Israeli policies and settlement expansion are pushing the Palestinian territories deeper into poverty. To the east of Hope Flowers is a big refugee camp, Dheisheh, part of Greater Bethlehem. 80% of the students at the school come from refugee camps like this. Many families face difficulties in securing the basic needs of their children. Many parents work daily in the neighboring settlements. In order to sustain their families, Palestinian workers are obliged to work in these settlements due to a lack of economic opportunity in Palestine. 30% of the Palestinian workforce works in Israel or in Israeli-occupied territory in the West Bank. These workers are affected by the political situation and by the long-term closures imposed on Palestinian areas by the Israeli army. Also, in many cases, Palestinians are prevented from working in Israel in case they have been involved in resisting the occupation. This situation causes high unemployment among parents of children of the school, affecting up to 30% of parents. Despite all these difficulties, Hope Flowers School continues to provide services for Palestinian children. Trauma counseling for children and their families remains one of our major programs. The Child Protection Program is an afternoon program providing psychosocial and educational support for children who are affected by violence and who require continual support and guidance. Since many children are malnourished and their parents cannot afford to provide for the basic needs of their children, Hope Flowers School continues providing hot meals for 250 of the children at the school. Thank you for your support. It enables us to continue in our work. Despite everything, hope continues to flower at our school here in Bethlehem.